Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed. Let's see how am I going to approach this show? The Saints took on the Carolina Panthers. Week 9 just went final. Saints going into this game, 6-game losing streak. Carolina going into this game, 5-game losing streak. Something had to give. All conventional wisdom tells you the Saints will bounce back. You got the return of Derek Carr. You have some pieces on that offensive line returning, You have Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill even. I mean, this should be the bounce back game that the Saints were looking for. Nope. Nope. New Orleans Saints lose their 7th game in a row, giving them sole possession of dead last in the NFC South as it stands right now, losing to the Carolina Panthers by the whopping score of 23-22. And I'm gonna tell you something. I know, I know that I'm giggling and laughing. Really, I am. I'm not upset by this game. I honestly, for the first time in, I don't know, I can't even remember. I went into this game, started watching this game, and I could care less what the outcome was. I really didn't care. I really watched this game just out of sheer habit and loyalty, I guess. And it was what it was. Nothing shocked me, wowed me. One play wowed me, and that was the interception by what's his name, Gene Charles. That was a nice interception. Other than that, nothing else in this game excited me. I didn't care. I honestly didn't care. And so when the clock hit zeros at the end of the fourth quarter, I was like, okay. It was like, whatever, because I didn't expect this team to win. This team is the worst team in football. It's official. It's official now, because going up to this game, it was the Carolina Panthers that was the laughing stock of the NFL. They were the worst team in football. They beat you. They beat you, and this is such a storybook ending. Saints started off the season against the Carolina Panthers, putting up 40-something points. I mean, just mollywopped the Panthers. And here we are 9 weeks later, and honestly, this score doesn't reflect. Carolina, Bryce Young, all respect to him. This was the best Bryce Young has looked in his NFL career. Now, his numbers doesn't wow anybody. It's not, any NFL records were broken because of his numbers, but he looked good. He looked comfortable. He looked like he was in command of the field, which he was. And I'm happy for him because I was cheering for the guy. I felt he got an unfair shake over there in Carolina, being benched and whatnot. But they turned it around. They committed to him, and it's paying off right now. They look good. They really do. They look like they are building. There's some hope there that you can build off of what you saw today for the Carolina Panthers. And I'm talking about this because I don't see that with the New Orleans Saints. I actually see the complete opposite. This team is about 5 years away from doing anything. And that's with the assumption that the Saints move on from Dennis Allen, that the Saints move on from Derek Carr, that the Saints find a way to get out of this cap hell that they are stuck in and actually make some educated, intelligent moves in the future. Because right now, Saints they're done as a franchise, as an organization. This is a done franchise. We're going to continue to see this for years to come due to the decisions made, man. It's sad in a way. But I guess the reason I'm not sad or upset, or I'm not going to say I'm happy, but not surprised by none of this is because I saw it coming. I saw that as long as Mickey Loomis in the Saints organization, the top brass, was willing to go to bat, cheer on Dennis Allen as the head coach of this football team, this is what we're going to get. There's no more excuses. The excuses is over. Even though I didn't accept those excuses anyway. I didn't want to hear about the injuries. I didn't want to hear about the schedule. They had to play 3 games in a 10-day span. I don't care. None of that matters, because right now, even if the Saints were completely depleted as a team injury-wise, they still should have beat the Carolina Panthers. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Mickey Loomis should feel like an idiot. He really should. If he don't feel like one, I will volunteer to stand in front of his face and call him one, because this team is done. This was embarrassing. If you was really cheering on the Saints, hoping that this will be the game that we can bounce back from and do something, get our season back on track. No. Everybody rest well. Rest well knowing that the 2024-25 season is done. It is completely, there's no way possible the Saints can make any noise. They can win out, and they still wouldn't be able to catch up with the rest of the NFC. But let's just focus on this game, shall we? Derek Carr made his triumphant return back to the field. Derek Carr, he had a, numbers wise, I guess you could say an okay game. He was 18 for 31, 236 yards of the touchdown. Derek Carr is trash. Derek Carr is not a good quarterback. I knew it before the injury. I knew it before he got here. But I thought at least he was average. I really did. I thought he was average. And I was championing the fact that, okay, he's still just an average quarterback. I was lying to myself, saying, yeah, he's an average quarterback. He can get us, 2 or 3 more wins that we were getting when he wasn't here. That was my thoughts. No, reality is reality. He is showing you what he is. He isn't trying to hide what he is. He is garbage. Did you see some of those throws? Did you see how he nearly got Chris Olave murdered on that field? If he throws it low, you might have a chance of not only protecting Chris Olave, but Olave actually making the catch. No, you threw it high, exposing your receiver, and look what happened. He got yet again another concussion. And speaking on that, Chris Olave, as much as I like him, love him, I think he's an asset for the New Orleans Saints in that wide receiving room. It's time to really sit down and think about his career. I know he's young, and so he has to think for his future. Is it worth it? Especially playing for this team. Is it worth it? This is like his, second or third this season concussion? Not to count the 2 he had last season and the 1 he had when he was a rookie. The dude has, he seriously, honestly, prayers up to him that he's all right. Well, he did leave the hospital, return to the stadium. He's going to fly back with the team. So that is excellent news. But that was a scary injury. That was scary. In his concussions, he isn't just wobbly when he gets up. He is knocked out every time he gets a concussion. That's not good. And from the little I know about concussions, once you get that one, it's easy. You just tap you on the head and you get another concussion. It's easy to come by. And it seems like every time it's just every time he gets hit, he get a concussion. And so prayers up to him. I hope he makes the right decision. Now, I'm more concerned with him being able to have his functions of his body and whatnot, his cognitive skills when he gets older. That's serious. That's very serious, and it needs to be addressed for that young man. It don't make sense for him to play the rest of this season. I'll tell you that much. For what? It doesn't make sense. But Derek Carr is trash. Now, you tell me, does that, you look at Derek Carr today, you look at Derek Carr today and his performance, and you look at a Spencer Rattler, and you look at a Jake Hader over the last couple of weeks, and you tell me how that offense, I should say, looked different from when it did with those two rookies playing. Not much difference, did it? It didn't look any different than with the rookies, which tells me what? Clint Kubiak. Yeah, Clint Kubiak, he was the belle of the ball, boy, those first 2 weeks of the season, wasn't he? So innovative, so smart. The way he has the offense looking, he's putting up 91 points in these first 2 games with his offense. He leaves a lot to be desired as an offensive coordinator. He can't call a game to save his life. I can't make excuses for him. He is not beyond the level of vitriol that that needs to be dished out for this team. He's on the chopping block with me too. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. And that's not to say that Alvin Kamara doesn't benefit from this offense. Alvin Kamara had an excellent game today. Actually, this season, because I think he has 1,000 yards all purpose already this season. And this is with him being broken up, put together with duct tape and spit and bubble gum. He still managed to get us 1,000 yards this season so far. And we still, we're at the midway point right now. So, good on him. But aside from that, the offense looks horrible, man. The offense looks horrible, and the defense looked horrible. Carolina running back Chuba Hubbard, I think he had 2 touchdowns today, including the go-ahead touchdown late in the game. And once again, lack of discipline on his defense. The poor tackling, the penalties, pass interference penalties, and so on and so forth. Come on, man. It's a joke. It's a joke. Now, Saints went into this game without having their 2 starting cornerbacks. Marshawn Lattimore was out. Kool-Aid McKinstry was out. So it could have been worse if you had a team that would exploit that. And the Carolina Panthers didn't exploit it because they really didn't have any. They don't have any receivers to test these corners. And so, God forbid, like next week when you play Atlanta, oh my God, and you don't have your 2 top corners, man, Kirk Cousins is going to eat. But, who cares? Who cares? At that point, I don't care. They can lose out. At this point, I am praying that we can lose out so we can get a top 5 pick, if not the number 1 overall. Because honestly, I don't see the Saints winning another game this season. I'm sorry. We'll go over that a little later. But this game pretty much was I guess you could say, a spotlight on everything that's wrong with the New Orleans Saints football team. Everything from the coaching to the players to everything was exposed today, as if it hasn't been exposed throughout the season so far. But today, it all came together in one glorious afternoon in Carolina. Let's go over the stats of today's game. I don't have much to say about this game. I really don't. I don't have not much to say about this team. And so let's go over the stats of today's matchup between the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. Starting with passing yardage, Derek Carr was 18 of 31, 236 yards and 1 touchdown. He was sacked 1 time. Bryce Young, he was 16 for 26, 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked once. Rushing, Alvin Kamara for the Saints. He had 29 rushes for 155 yards today. No touchdowns. And for the Carolina Panthers, you have Chuba Hubbard, 15 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Leading receiver today for the Saints, you guessed it, Alvin Kamara, 6 catches for 60 yards. For the Carolina Panthers, it was Jatravion Sanders, 4 catches for 87 yards. Leading tackler on defense was Pete Warner for the New Orleans Saints with 8, and for the Carolina Panthers, it was DeMonte Richardson with 12 tackles today. Moving over to team stats. The team stats today, first downs, New Orleans Saints had 25 first downs. Carolina had 15. Third down efficiency, Saints were 5 for 15 on third down. Carolina was 4 for 10 on fourth down. Saints were 2 for 3 on fourth down. Carolina never went for it on fourth. Total plays, Saints ran 74 total plays today. Carolina, 50. Saints, total yardage, 427 yards today to Carolina's 246. Both teams had 11 drives. Yards per play, Saints 5.8 yards per play. Carolina 4.9. Passing yardage, Saints 230. Carolina 166. Rushing, Saints 197. Carolina 80. Red zone. Saints were 2 for 4 in the red zone. Carolina was 100%, 3 for 3 in the red zone. Penalties today. Saints had 10 penalties for 109 yards. Carolina 6 for 55. Carolina had 1 turnover. Time of possession, Saints had the ball for 34 minutes and 19 seconds. Carolina 25 minutes and 41 seconds. Now, I just ran over the team stats for the game, and you would ask yourself, how did the Saints lose? I mean, the Saints won in every single category with the exception of one. Just one category that Carolina won in. Every other one, Saints won. Total yardage combined offensively, rushing yardage, yards per play, turnover battle. They did win on the penalty side as well, so I guess it's 2. But there was only one, and that's the one that mattered, and that was the red zone. The Saints were 2 for 4 in the red zone. Carolina was 3 for 3. And that was the difference maker. But it goes deeper than that as well. This is a horrible football team. How can you lose? How can you lose a game when you outrush a team? When you outrush a team by 117 yards, how did you lose this game? How can you lose a game when you outthrow a team by 100, close to 100 yards? But you lose the game, and they had the one and only turnover, yet and still you lost. And had the ball for 10 minutes longer. 10 minutes longer, and you lost. Let's go over the grades for today's matchup between the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. In case you don't know how we do the grading system here on the KB Radio Network, this is how it works. I grade the offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and then I round them all up to give an overall grade for the Saints' 7th loss in a row against the Carolina Panthers. Let's start with offense. Offense today gets a D+. It's not good. It's not good at all. It's so telegraphed. And once again, you're playing a bad team in the Carolina Panthers. So a lot that you was doing offensively, positive wise, is because you was playing the Carolina Panthers. Let's not fool ourselves. You know, aside from Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, what else? Who else showed up to play today offensively? I'll wait. Who else showed to play? I'm gonna give a pass to Chris Olave because Derek Carr almost got him killed, and so that's not him. You know, that's not on him. But everybody else, who showed up? I mean, this offense is so stagnant and predictable. It's unbelievable. It is Pete Carmichael 2.0 out there. I know every play that they're about to run. It is And if I know what they're about to run, a defensive coordinator who gets paid to know definitely knows. Yes, they get a D plus on offense. Defense gets a D minus. There was one play. There was one play that was so embarrassing. They should have just went straight to the locker room, took off their uniforms, got on the bus, went to the airport, and hopped on a plane. And we were in the third quarter, or was it the second quarter? I can't even remember at this point. When the dude caught this little slant, right? And I can't even remember the guy's name for the Carolina Panthers. And he leaps over, but he didn't really leap. He just jumped in the air, and everybody just whiffed. Everybody being the honey badger, Tyrann Mathieu. If he just put his arms out and wrap up like a normal human being, basic fundamentals, that play is dead, stopped. No, that turned into a 40-yard plus game because they just don't know how to fundamentally play the sport that they're being paid to do. It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous that this team continues to shoot themselves in the foot time and time again defensively. It's like they know we're at a crucial point in the game. Okay, let me grab this guy. Let me not turn around and locate the ball. Let me just do something stupid like hit the quarterback late or something. They just do the stupidest stuff at the dumbest moments possible. And it's every single game, including this one. Yes, they get a D minus. The special teams gets a C plus. The punter, even though he converted that fourth down, nice. That was a nice conversion that we only got a field goal out of. We went forward like 3 times on that drive and could only get 3 points out of it. But whatever. Aside from that, he had some really ugly punts today, and I just weren't feeling it. And special teams as a whole, stupid penalties on special teams as well. It was just a sloppy, ugly, messy game. Yeah, they get a C plus. Coaching, they get an F. Coaching gets a flat out F because this team looks the exact same they've looked every single week. Unprepared, undisciplined, and just lost. Just out there wandering around like Kane on Kung Fu. Remember that TV show? They're just out there. They're not prepared. I haven't seen them prepared to play a game since the Dallas game. They came prepared to play in that game, but for some strange reason, since then, it's like they think that people are going to touch the field. When they touch the field, people are just going to be super intimidated by them or something. I don't know, but they look horrible. Overall, for today's performance against the Carolina Panthers, the Saints gets a D. This is a embarrassment of an organization right now. And look, I'm not going to advocate like most people are. Don't support the team, don't go to the games and all this here. I'm not going to advocate for it. But what I will do is tell you what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Me, Kevin Reed, as a lifelong Saints fan, as a die-hard Saints fan, moving forward, I'm done. I'm just done. And it really took this moment. I usually say it out of anger. In the past, I'll be bad and throwing stuff and just mad. Like, man, I'm not watching them no more. I'm just bad. But this is as calm as I ever have been. I have zero emotion left for this team. None. And I'm going to continue to have this. I guess it's an internal protest that's most likely not going anywhere, but it makes me feel better. It helps me sleep at night. Until the New Orleans Saints wake up from this fever dream that they have and that they actually think they have a competent head coach and actually Get rid of this dude. Get him off my sideline. He is not a head coach. Just for example, look across the field today. Look at Dan Cornelius. I think I'm saying his name. Like whoever the coach for the Carolina Panthers. He just started. This is his first year as the coach. And so them being in this position right now, 2-7, that's understandable. This is his first year. He's feeling his way out. This is his first year as a coach, period. And so he's feeling his way out. You know, he made a decision a couple of weeks ago. He benched Bryce Young, like, okay, this ain't working. We're going to bench him, you know, and made some changes here and there and saw that, okay, nothing's going to happen. Mind you, I failed to mention this little tidbit. Just a few days earlier, just a few days ago, they traded away a couple of their good players. Well, they've been trading away their best players for the past 2 to 3 years now. They just been dumping all of the good players, you know, starting with Christian McCaffrey a few years back and so on and so forth. They lost a lot of their best players on defense, and they just traded somebody last week. I forgot who it was, but they're pretty much in fire sale mode. And they're like, forget it. We're going to get rid of all that. Even Bryce Young is on the trading block. So at this point, they're in a rebuild mode. They're rebuilding a franchise. Did that stop the Carolina Panthers from going out there and putting up a fight? Putting up a fight. I apologize on behalf of the Carolina Panthers fan base. Go out there and beat a team that just a few weeks back embarrassed you. Yeah, no. That's a coach that you can kind of get behind. I see none of that with a Dennis Allen. There's none of that with a Dennis Allen as a coach. He's still talking about cleanup. We're in week 9 and he's talking about cleaning up. Clean up what? I am done with this team until they make a change. And I'm making this announcement for this. Well, I'm saying that to make this announcement. You know, I'm talking in reverse like I'm Yoda. The Dome Patrol podcast is going on hiatus. I'm not going to talk about the games this season. No more this season unless there's a change. Now, if they make that change, we'll have a show. It's going to be a party. We're going to talk about the exit of Dennis Allen. But being as though I know that Dennis Allen, well, him too, but I know that Mickey Loomis is a pompous, ego-driven fool, it's not going to happen. So with that being said, yeah, we are taking a hiatus for the foreseeable future. Yeah, man, this is bad. This is dark times. This is the worst the Saints have looked since Mike Dicker was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Mike Dicker, and we remember them days. Jeez, I'd rather have Mike Dicker back, and he's a racist. And so give me that. Other than this fool can't coach. He can't coach. And what more proof do you need? And just to put it in perspective, since we're not going to be talking no more this season, let me put it in perspective. You know who the New Orleans Saints have this season? Well, for the remainder of this season, beginning next week, the Saints have the Atlanta Falcons. That's a loss. After that, they have the Cleveland Browns. That's probably going to be a loss too. Then you have a bye. You come off the bye, you have the Los Angeles Rams. Loss. When you finish taking that L from the Rams, you got the New York Giants. That's probably the one game remaining that I think the Saints probably will win. But I'm not 100% confident on that. After the Giants games, you have the Washington Commanders. That's going to be a big loss. Green Bay Packers, loss. Las Vegas Raiders, maybe, but I'm going with the loss. And then you're going to end it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so you tell me, why put myself through this? Why should we go through this as a Who Dat Nation, as a fan base? And this team is not suited to beat now one of those teams that I just listed going forward. I'm going to say at best, you might get 3. At best, Saints get 3 wins for the remainder of this season. We shall see. And so I don't know. Really don't care. The only victory I'm celebrating going forward is the victory of the firing of Dennis Allen. But that's just me. Some of you may feel different. But if you do, I would love to know, what do you think Dennis Allen going to do differently that he hasn't done in the past 2.5 years? He hasn't done anything different. This team has not. Matter of fact, this team looks worse. This team looks 10 times worse with no sign of it getting better. If you got better effort, well, let me take that back. There was some effort today. I want to give credit what credit's due. In comparisons to what we saw the last couple of weeks, there was a little bit more effort today. And I mean a little. And I don't think that came from the coaching staff. I think that came from the players itself. I think that came from them being men and saying, you know what? This is embarrassing. We got to do better. And that's where it came from. But it wasn't Dennis Allen pushing him. But I would love to know, what do you think? Am I overreacting or blowing this overboard? I'm not overreacting. I am as emotionless as I can be right now. I'm really like chill. I am so cool with my decision. It's not even funny. And part of me is upset by this. Don't get me wrong. I love talking about the Saints. I love doing this show. And so part of me is a little hurt by this. But I'll be even more scarred if I continue to do this. I feel I got to protect my mental health. And that's really the deciding factor here. I got to protect me, because me talking out throughout this show so far, my blood pressure shot up a little bit. And I'm not even mad. But I think about all we've been through the last 2.5 seasons with this guy as the head coach. And I don't see no end in sight. I honestly don't see it. It would shock me beyond belief if Dennis Allen gets fired. It would shock me because I don't believe it. Mickey Loomis done told me such. I need to look past the results. I need to look past 7 straight losses. I need to look past underperforming. I need to look past a coach not beating a team over 500 in his entire career. Look past a coach who can't beat the worst team in football. I need to look past all that. So there's no way that this dude is going to make the necessary change that this team needs to make. But I want to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. We just reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I appreciate everybody for supporting the show. Like this video, share this video, continue to support it. Even though Dome Patrol is kind of on hiatus, we still got other programs on the podcast, and we still will return. It's not over. We're just taking a break. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me as we recapped the Saints' 7th loss in a row to the Carolina Panthers, bringing both of their records to 2-7 on the season thus far. Oh boy, what a year. We've been to the highest of highs first 2 weeks to the lowest of lows by week 9, only in the Who Dat Nation. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy November. leading up to this holiday season. Hopefully, we'll be back before the before things get festive around the world. But I'm not counting on it. But guess what? Even though we're taking a little break, going sit in the corner for a little while, I'm still going to support my team. I'm still going to show love for my team, even though they don't show love to me. But I'm still going to be screaming to the top of my lungs, who that?